In this video tutorial, I'm going to continue from the last one where I modeled the Goku Cubeecraft character's head. In this video tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and model the Goku Cubeecraft character's torso. So let's go ahead and get started. You'll see that I've got the head down here, and right now the head is below the grid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Option G, and that's going to get the head right there in the center of my grid. And I think I'm going to go ahead and lift the head above the grid, just so that way it's up there where I think it's going to be. Okay, and I'll actually lift it up a little bit further. Alright, so now I'm ready to go ahead and do the torso. Okay, so I'm just going to arrange my workspace a little bit more. Okay, so down here in the bottom left, I'm in front ortho. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate the background image. I rotated it so the head would be nice and level. But now if I look at the torso here, the torso is at a funky angle here. So I'm going to press N, and that's going to bring back the toolbar on the right. And I'm going to scroll down here and make sure that your toolbar on the right is wide enough that you can actually see this slider down here that says rotation. And I'm going to set rotation to 0. There we go. And I'll press N to close it. Okay, so here is his torso. So I'm going to left click and place my 3D cursor right there on his torso right there. I'm going to do Shift A and add in a mesh cube. Okay, so the cube comes in. I'm going to tab to get into edit mode, and I'm going to go ahead and scale down a little bit. Okay. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to now deselect, and I'm going to box select, and I'm going to go ahead and move. So now I need to check my height and width in all 3 views. So I'm just checking, I'm just going around all 4 sides. Select, deselect, and I'm doing box select because I think box select is faster. Again, box select is B. Left click and drag a selection box around what I want to select. Okay, and then as a final check, I'm going to look right here at I select all, and you can see for the chest, for the torso, the front chest, that looks pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to go to side view. So side view, you can notice that it's quite off away from the side of his torso. So I'm going to go ahead and bring it in, and I'm going to bring it down. And this is the interesting one. I don't quite know if that's correct or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move this to his back view, and this is his back, and I'm just going to check and see if this is correct for his back. So let me move it a little bit. Okay, so it's a tiny bit off. I'm going to just box select, bring it in here for his back. There we go. Okay, so that's his back, and I'm going to look at that. Okay, so there's no top view for his torso. There's a bottom view, and that's right here around his right here around the mouse. So I'll press numpad 7, and I'll go into top view, and then I'll go ahead and grab the cube and see if it looks all right. And again, the advice that I give is if it looks good in front view, side view, and top view, you're pretty much ready to unwrap. So you're pretty good to go. Okay, so I'm going to go back to front view. And remember that when you change from front view to side view to top view, the object doesn't have to be sitting on the graphic for all 3 views. That's just for reference. Okay, so now that I think I'm set, and I think I'm set, we'll see. Now I'm ready to unwrap. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to name the object. So I'm going to come here to the object panel, which is the orange cube, and I'm going to go ahead and call this Goku torso. And it's really important that you put the character's name in there. And the reason why is because if you go ahead and you decide to make multiple characters, and this body part is called torso, you might have multiple torsos, but you don't really know which torso belongs to which character. So be descriptive. Okay, now I'm going to go to the material panel, and instead of clicking on new, I'm going to go ahead and you'll see that next to new, I've got this little button right here which says browse material. So I'm going to click on that, and here's the Goku material that I already made for his head. So now I'm going to go to the texture panel, and look at that. It actually, Blender's smart enough to know that I want to use that texture. So I'm pretty much ready. I can now unwrap. So I'm going to press U, I'm going to press unwrap, and there are all of my UVs right there. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and with all of them selected, I'm going to press S and I'm going to scale down. And I'll grab and move over here, and the front view is what I'm going to set up first. That's typically my preference. And I know, just to show you, I know that from the face, notice that the face is facing towards positive y-axis. So his face is facing towards the green arrow. So I need to know that for the torso, positive y-axis is in fact the face that I want to work with. So alright, I'm going to go ahead and bring them over here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'll maybe scale them on the y-axis a little bit just to make them a little taller. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and deselect. I'm going to now box select, and I'll do G, Y, and I'll move it down here like that. Then I'll deselect, I'll then box select, and I'll do G, this time X, and I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, so I'm pretty good to go. Okay, so now everything looks pretty good. So I'm looking over now my 3D view, and you'll notice that every single face, every single texture is upside down. So I'm going to come back over here to the UV view. I'm going to select all by pressing A, and I'm going to need to rotate them. So I'm going to press R, and then I'm going to type in 180 for 180 degrees, and then I'll left click. If you don't type in 180, or you don't know to type in 180, you could of course just manually rotate them. Okay, now I'm ready to go. So his front face is looking quite good. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select a side face. So with the side face selected, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to press A to make sure I select all. Then I'll press G and I'll grab it, and you can see it moving in the 3D view. I'm just going to go ahead and move it over here, right here. Looks like that. Okay, good. So that looks good, and you can see his waistband here is continuing around, so that looks good. That's a good check. Okay, now I'm going to go over to this side and select the face, and I'll come back to my UV window and press A until all the UVs are selected, and then I'll press G and Y to lock it to the y-axis, and then I'll go ahead and I'll move it up, and there we go, and I'll deselect. Okay, I'm going to select the top face, come back to my UV window, press A to select all, and for this I'm going to move it over here to the right to this orange area. Now I don't want to see these little letters C and D, and I certainly don't want to see these white sort of cut marks, these slits. So I'm going to press G, and I'm going to bring it over here, and then I'm going to press S, and I'm going to scale it down just so it's nice and small, and you can see it's just plain orange. And that way the top view is just plain orange. I'm going to do the exact same thing for the bottom. Select the face, come over here to the UV, press A, grab it, move it, scale it, and then I'm all set. So that is it for his torso. Nope. I need to select his back face. I keep forgetting the back. Okay. I'll go ahead and I'm going to press A to select all in the UV window, G to grab, Y to lock the movement to the y-axis, and I want to make sure I come back down here, and G, Y, and there we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good, and now I'm just going to spin the model around, just orbit the model around, and everything looks pretty good. Okay, so that is it for the torso. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the torso back to the center of the grid. So I'm going to press Option G, and that moves it back there. And now I can go ahead and I can move the head down. And now I can start putting the piece together. So maybe I'll look at this from the front view. And you can see I can see my background image there. I'll go ahead and move the face so it looks pretty good. That looks good. I'll go ahead and look at it from the side view. Nope, doesn't look good from the side view, so I'll go ahead and move it from the side view. Okay, looks good. From the top view looks pretty good. That's what it looks like in wireframe, so you can actually see the head on top of the body, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so that's pretty good there. I'll go back into texture mode, perspective. Okay, so that looks pretty all right. And I'll go ahead and save. Okay, so that's it for here. So the rest of the body parts are pretty much the same thing. What you would do is you go to your front view and you decide what you're going to model. So for this example, for Goku, if I'm going to model the arms, which are rotated, you would press N and you would go ahead and you would rotate the image so that way the arms look correct. So if I'm going to model one of the arms, I would go ahead and rotate just like this until I eyeball it, and there you go. So it looks like this arm here is 57 degrees rotated, which of course doesn't work for the other arm, but that's a separate object. And the two arms are actually the same. So once you do one arm, you could actually Shift D and duplicate it and have the second arm. So the arms are pretty easy. And the legs, which are these guys right here, the legs are actually one object. So both legs are separate. We'll talk about this in class, about separating the legs, so that way we could actually animate the character walking or running or flipping or whatever. But for now, you can go ahead and you can model the legs as they appear in the image. In the next and last video, I'll go ahead and show you how I would go about modeling extra pieces like Goku's hair. All right, I'll see you in the next video.